Hello, and yeah, good afternoon, and all that sort of thing. So, yeah, finally time for this to continue. It's been a hot minute. Finally got all the saves and everything transferred over from the old computer, so I can finally continue and finish up FFTA, can finish up March of the Black Queen, all that kind of good stuff. So, all right, let's see here. As far as what was going on with these characters, right, I think I was going for a hunter build with him. Let's see. He's eventually going to become a mage gunner. He is. I don't actually know. That matter, is that supposed to be a two-hander thing? Or can he? It's weird that he's able to just use that. I thought that was a two-hander. It's a two-hander in every other iteration that it shows up in, that's for sure. But yeah, interestingly, the barong, it's actually a Korean thing, as far as I remember. I'm gonna give you boots. I forget, is it select or something? What is it that tells me your stats? Red leather boots. Okay, it's not that, it's not that. I think if I select and hold something, it's supposed to tell me. Yeah, I always forget with FFTA because it's... Let's see. Remove L, R is info. Can I cycle info? No. Dang it, how the hell do I tell stats again? Maybe I have to be selecting something else. So I go to that. That doesn't tell me. Yeah, it's going to be a minute. It's going to take a second to figure that out. Let's see, not that, not that. Okay, there we go. It's triangle from that menu. That's what changes it. So, alright. At the moment, he should have been learning a new thing here. Let's see, how do I know what you've already learned? Okay, there we go. So he's partially on his way to first aid. She was going for Elementalist, I believe. And again, sorry, just kind of recapping myself here. Big abilities. There we go. Fencer. Okay, Shield Bearer, never learned it. Oh well. It only counts for action abilities anyway, so the passive abilities don't really count, which is kind of a shame. But yeah, Cure. Looks like we're basically just going to need 3 fights, probably. For all kinds of different stuff here. So let's go ahead and get employed. Let's see, how are we doing as far as... Okay, stream quality seems like it's on yellow for some reason, but it's seemingly okay. What will you take? Okay, Professor in Trouble. Didn't we already do this? Well, this seems like we've already done it. Oh well. Doesn't matter. Let's see, he's gone to Ludia for 3 days. Maybe he's lost in an avalanche. Okay, this guy got robbed of his friggin' thesis by bandits, because that's something they do. Let's see, saw a guy doing stuff in the mountain. Oh yeah, this one's fun. And you get a ice sword and ice shield out of it pretty early on. What's this do? Dampening flames, enhances the power of water and ice. Well, we probably don't want to go ahead and use that. Alright, there we go. So, interesting random note here. Let's see, that's on Lucia. That's going to be all the way up yonder. Alright, what kind of laws are we dealing with? Jeez, what in the hell did my kid did something to my controller here. For some reason, one of the circle buttons all sticky. The mysteries are real. Alright, knives are going to be banned. That's going to be perfect, because there's a chance that they might have knives. I do not have knives! So, alrighty, let's do this thing. And it's this guy. So, this one's actually not the easiest, as I recall. I remember it taking a few attempts back in the day. Alright, we're going to put you here. I love this music. It's funny. It's a little bit sad, but a little bit energetic. Can't really decide what it wants to do. But yeah, I think with 2 healers we should be fine. The healers are generally a support class and nothing else in this one. They didn't exactly get as strong as they did in FFT. They didn't get as supportive as they did in FFTA 2. But yeah. They're upset that this guy is performing experiments with ice on this mountain made of ice. Like, oh dang it, you're getting in the way. See, but okay. So I think this was the thing that really just like did it for me for FFTA and FFTA 2. Because whenever there's problems or whatever else, it's not like, oh, it's the end of the world over here. It's friggin' apocalyptic nonsense going on over this way. Or, it's like the fate of the universe hangs in the balance. Like, no, some guy is blocking a pathway and just being a dick. So we want somebody to go deal with it. And, yeah, then you do. And it's all nifty-like. It's like the overarching plot is kind of the whole, well, world-altering scenario. But it's funny, because for FFTA, it's basically like you're actually the one trying to mess the world up. Whereas in FFTA 2, you're just some guy trying to figure out what the hell they're even doing there in the first place. And generally, they're a lot more chill about it. Because, yeah, as I was saying last time, if you wind up in this kind of situation, your first answer would not be, oh man, I definitely want to get out of here. It would be, man, this is friggin' awesome. I'm actually going to stay here a while, because this is great. Alright, let's go ahead and drop a cure. So strangely enough, the sound effect for cure, that's one of the things that when I was growing up, was like one of the big deciding factors for me as to whether I ended up playing this one or TO that day. Because yeah, TO was actually the first one that I had ever gotten. Well, the first... Actually, no, wait, let's see. What was it? I think I got... No, I was going to get TO, and then they didn't have it, and then I ended up getting... I ended up getting FFT first, and then came back from a trip. Like, my brother had set this TV thing up in the back seat for me. It was pretty sweet. He, like, set up the PS1 and this little travel TV in the back there, because we were going to be traveling across the country. So yeah, it was pretty great. Alright, 20 at 50%, might as well. I think I'm probably going to set this at a higher speed in just a moment here, because it's running a little bit on the slow side. It happens. Also, I love that this guy's name's Gelato. He's Gelato, the Ice Mage. He's making ice cream. Funnily enough, he has no flans. Well, I mean, I guess Gelato's more of a kind of... What's it? Well, it's gelato, really. It's just Italian ice cream. It's not the same thing as flan at all, but whatever. What can you do, right? So hopefully the music's coming through okay. Hopefully the sound's coming through okay. The music is literally the only reason that I haven't gone ahead and fast-forwarded already. Because I really like the music in this one. And I think of all these old SRPGs and everything else, I think the music in this one's probably one of my favorites. Like, for as much as I loved Night of Lotus, like this thing's soundtrack was just so much better. Well, I should say, like, they did what they could with Night of Lotus. Like, they were trying to get that same kind of downer orchestral kind of feel going, but they couldn't quite get it. Alright, so I'm going for a confusion here. Yeah, this is one of those ones that's pretty good if you want to train up a Beastmaster. Ah, jeez. Double hit on the confusion, that sucks. Hopefully Asuna will hit in an area. And so she's gonna go do whatever. What you gonna do? You're gonna go stick smack the guy? That's fine. That is perfectly acceptable. Ooh, going for a Swarm Strike, actually. That's the thing. You want to give Swarm Strike to every, to basically every Viera unit that you get, just because it's so good. It's like it's basically dooming that character to lose. Like, it's kind of funny that they even have Doom as a status effect in this, because Swarm Strike is basically the same thing and so much easier to accomplish. Or rather, Poison is the same thing but so much easier to accomplish. It's like, sure, Doom may take, 3 turns as opposed to 4 from Poison, but still. Poison is so much harder to deal with, because you can just go and put it out there all the time, whereas Doom is a whole long, annoying thing. Just over here fighting this guy for being a dick. Usual kind of stuff that you do. But yeah, I think in terms of general hours, I ended up playing this a good bit more than I did FFT. Because after that, I think like many people, after the first run of FFT, like I thought, wow, that was really awesome, but then didn't really get back into it for a little while because the ending confused me. So ended up coming back from that. Ended up like picking up Night of Lotus. I ended up absolutely loving that. I was like, okay, I have to find other games just like this, and then upon doing a little bit of a search, the answer was, hey, they exist. You played the one other one. you played FFT. Because for some reason, at the time when I was looking, um, Tactics Ogre and Ogre Battle and all that, they weren't even mentioned, and I don't know why. Like, they weren't even on the friggin' list of like, games that were similar to those two for some reason. I think that was just GameStop being weird, or GameSpot being weird back in the day. Could have been. Probably was. Who knows? And yeah, a couple folks here now, so if anyone could let me know about the audio quality, I would appreciate it. I'm pretty sure it's fine. All the bars say it's fine. And I have this little cat trying to eat my hand. Why, cat? Why are you doing that? That's all stingy and it hurts. It's a freaking adorable kitty. You can't even be mad at him. And they go, excuse me, I'm just going to murder the ever-loving Christ out of your fingers. And you can't be mad. You just can't do it. Alright. Ow! Jesus. Thing hurts, though. Alright, what do we want to do here? Probably just go ahead and combo. Nice thing at the fact that he gets a combo. He doesn't even need the same kind of weapon. Let's see, worst quality in Before You Fried Your Mic. Yeah, I know. Okay, so here's the confusing part, right? So the other mic was way the hell cheaper than this one. The only difference seemed to be some kind of like little dongle thingy that was on there that seemed to be, I don't know, like an onboard equalizer or some crap. I don't really know. I was meaning more in terms of general sound levels and all of that. To be, Christ, cat, get off my cords, you little dick. Go. Kittens, absolutely adorable. They love murdering your electronics and feet. Ow! Okay, you know what? You are going elsewhere. Goodbye. Goodbye. You go away. Yes, spray bottle says hi. Trying to teach this cat to stop getting into stuff that he shouldn't get into. So we're going through the whole spray bottle phase now. Yeah, so basically just consists of an entire night of just, you think you've just gotten to sleep, and then out of nowhere, just some other animal yelps as this little kitten just bit them in the crotch or something. All night with that. Like, we have this older cat, right? And basically, he's pretty chilled out. Likes to sleep on the bed with my wife and I. And yeah, this little kitten constantly just bites his tail. Just like sneaks under the covers, bites his tail, and then is super surprised when he gets smacked across the face and or straight up punted off the bed. And he just keeps doing it over and over and over. Like, it's just a wonder, an absolute wonder how he doesn't get it. But whatever's fun, Whatever's fun. Oh yeah, so what I was talking about earlier about the mic. So yeah, it's I don't get why that other one was any different, or rather, I don't get why that other one was better, because it was literally like a $3 busted up like old customer service one that I had picked up at a garage sale like 8 friggin' years ago, and it just sat there. I thought it was broken, so I never even bothered testing it for the longest time until I finally started getting into this a couple of years ago. But yeah, no, it was just sitting there all dusty and old and horrible, and like this was actually, was it 8 years ago? No, wait, let's see. It's like 2018, 6 years ago. That's what it should be. So it was about 6 years, give or take. But either way, the thing was old as hell. Just an old USB mic. No idea why it ended up working as well as it did. Because every other USB mic that I tested had this annoying problem wherein they would whistle. Like if you heard when I had the one that I was testing for a little while, what was it now? I want to say about a month and a half ago, give or take. But that was another USB one, and apparently there's a problem wherein if you have a laptop that is running off of a power cord and not running off of the outlet, or rather running off the power cord and not running off the battery, it will essentially do this thing where it's just like off in the background the whole time, and that's what that one kept doing. And it was a bit more expensive than this one, and I saw that this was at the store. It was on sale, so like, you know what, convenient. I'm just gonna go ahead and buy this cheapness and see what happens. And I mean, it's at least acceptable. Like, hopefully, it's at least acceptable for the moment. Once I get all of my affairs in order here, I'll get all of my my business running again, all of that over the course of the next few months. Hopefully, at that point, it'll be possible to go invest in something a little bit nicer for the sake of this hobby. But for the time being, there's this cheapo bastard. I redid the emphasis levels on it a little bit, so hopefully it sounds a little bit better today. But yeah. So it sounds a little bit off. I know. Okay. So what do you think? Leave it at this speed? Speed it up to 1.5? Because if I speed it up to 1.5... Here, let me show what happens. Mission setup. Let's go to 1.5. There we go. Then we got this kind of thing going on. So it runs a bit faster. The audio just sounds really jacked up, though. And I wish that there was a setting on some of these emulators where it's like, okay, make the game run faster, but don't let the audio do this. So that's why I haven't really done it. Because it sounds really weird. And I don't know, it's acceptable speed, I think. It's not the fastest thing in the world, but it works. No, experiment. His experiment was to make mass ice cream, I think. He was just trying to turn this entire thing into one massive ice cream cone. It's the only possible explanation. Also, wow, I had that one guy go and use first aid on himself instead of finishing off that lion thing. Despite the fact that, yeah, I definitely should have. I completely forgot that he's actually alive. An interesting visual choice that they made on this one is if you end up looking every time that an animal gets kicked down or whatever else, they actually turn completely into bones. And I think it's just because if you ever have them lying down or whatever else, it's sometimes hard to tell what's going on. Which I guess was a lesson that they ended up learning from some other games, but still. You know, it looks a little funny, but it's fine. It's perfectly fine. Yeah, so yeah, a couple days ago, I started thinking about this game again. It's been kind of just constantly on my head of, you know, as much crap as the law system gets, I personally really love it. Because if you think about it, this is probably one of the most, or FFTA and 2 are probably some of the most end-lore consistent games that Matsuno ever made. Just because, well, okay, I say he inspired in this case. I just mean like Matsuno, like SRPGs, whatever. So he wasn't directly involved in these two. But as far as like end-lore consistency and whatever else, it's like just the fact that nobody's going and they're actually going out of their way to not cause any wars or whatever else. That's the whole deal behind the law system. They're like, okay, look, we can't get directly involved in any of the affairs that anyone's doing here. Somebody has to actively break a law, and we can just put more and more laws so that they eventually, you know, get punished by that. But we can't, like, go and start a whole civil war kind of thing going on here. And that's how it ends up going. And every time you reach another phase of the game, you just see the little kid freaking out in the background like, no, they're still making progress, more laws, just more laws everywhere. And then everyone's getting more and more pissed off because they're like, okay, look, this is getting ridiculous. Friggin' 3 laws getting changed every day is beyond annoying. But, yeah, I know. I love it. Absolutely love it. Alright, this guy can't do jack, so we're just gonna leave him sitting here. Alright, Mr. Ramza, why don't you go over here? If little kitty meowing in the background here is coming through, I apologize. He's being a little cat, doing all kinds of cat stuff. Alright, that's gonna go ahead and miss. I probably should have just used this combo there. And you're gonna sit there, and you are gonna go shake this guy. But yeah, so I was kind of tossing up today whether to do FFTA or whether to do March of the Black Queen, because I got both of them transferred over. But then I started having some issues with the SNES emulator and not playing nice with OBS again, so finally this is the end result. Because nothing wants to play nice. Oh, right. Now I know why this isn't working. I'm over here finishing off those guys. You don't actually have to finish them off. You basically just have to go break his experiment. Actually, if you're under-leveled, you can just go ahead and break these as they are. And I think you just have to beat him and break those things. I'm not even 100% sure that you have to beat the leader. But I'm assuming so. So he can heal them with ice. That's why you want to beat him. And then if you use fire and lightning on them, I believe they end up breaking, or if you end up just hitting them outright. You know what? Let me test one more thing here for the emulation settings. Feels like... So I just want to double check if there's a way to improve the frame rate without messing up the sound real quick. What does this do? Okay, it's a hilarious nightmare. How about no? What does this do? Right, maybe not so much. How about this one? Okay, very no. Let's go for, I guess... No, that's half auto. Yeah, no, we're just gonna go standard. There we are. We'll just leave it at standard. That was a little bit unnecessary. Alright, go ahead and use this. And that should hopefully... No, that's going to give it a positive. Okay, so thunder heals them. What about fire? Surely that doesn't. Nope. Apparently just anything magic related heals them. I mean, I'd assume ice does. Okay, no. So much for that. Okay, so I have to run up and hit them then. And I think that's another thing that that FFTA and 2 did a fair bit better. Just because they had a lot more objectives going on, a lot more varied mission types and that sort of thing. Like, I mean, in FFTA 2, weirdly enough, one of the more amusing ones I thought was all the bugle ones. So you basically have one for every single month, so you got 12 of them. And you're basically just helping this complete douchebag of an editor run around interviewing people. Except there's something bizarre going on every single time, like, oh yeah, no, there's like a bunch of floating fireballs attacking the city. You know, I would say their actual name, but I don't want to end up on a list. But, like, yeah, a bunch of fireballs or whatever burning down the city, but, you know, still gotta go get the story. So then you're just, like, going around trying to defend him while he's going around interviewing people in the middle of a crisis. It's pretty great. I like that one. Oh, he's got a stick. That's not going to work at all. Okay. Well, he leveled up from it anyway. Okay, potentially infinite level ups here if you have a mage, I guess. That's not abusable at all. Alright, break the dealie. Surprisingly good animation on that thing popping open. Actually, these things popping open always kind of made me think of Golden Sun for some reason. You know what? One thing that I plan to do at some point, again, that's kind of like after getting a whole bunch of financial stuff figured out, but I'd really like to do the 2 big mods that came out for Golden Sun and The Lost Age, because those things are really, really, really good. Like, unusually good for mods. Alright, you can just wait here. Continue waiting here. You do nothing. You go ahead and hit that thing. There we are. But yeah, so if you weren't aware, Golden Sun basically had this whole thing where they just had a crap load of extra classes, but you probably never used them. Yeah, there we go. You know, if you had just gotten permission to be here and up in a squatter in the middle of a mountain pass, and apparently they decided to send mercenaries to deal with it, but whatever. So, what was I getting at here? Oh yeah, so the Golden Sun mods there. I think it was Rising Sun and Setting Sun or something like that. Oh, we got a new dude. Hello, Mr. Anton. Yes. So I'm going to hire a couple of these guys just to send them out on jobs. Because you can basically just have a whole second party that you just send out only to do jobs. They come in completely, completely unequipped at base level. Sometimes they'll come in with unique classes, or not unique classes, but upgraded classes, which is usually the only time that you want to actually hire somebody to have them, fully join your team. But okay, what else? Let's have, how are you doing on Shield Bearer? Not even learning it. Okay. In that case, how would you like this thing? Right, so absorbs ice, half fire, weak to lightning. Fair enough. Alright. So nobody's actually learned their abilities yet. So we can go ahead and go back. Clan Wars haven't started yet, so don't have to worry about that. That's usually your main thing where you don't exactly want to travel all the way across the map to go do something, because, one of your territories might get taken over. Alright. Mission items, yes. Those are all well and nifty. I wish I would have known about that the first time through the game. Alright, Thesis Hunt. Let's get a fortune ring for that one. Okay, this guy's lost in an avalanche. Oh, soup. Yes, I don't remember why, but that soup is useful. Alright, so we'll go to Lutia for that. And what's this one? Is that also in Lutia? Yes. So we'll go ahead and go to that same place. Sorry, I have to go spray the cat for being on the table real quick. Alright. And he's upset about it. He's like, dang it, I was just over there hanging out on the baby's chair. Okay, shop-wise, is there anything we want to get? So I kind of want to get a bow or something. Ooh, you know what? I need to get a bray. Because I want to be able to block arrows. Chain plate, do I already have one of those? Yes, but I'll get another one. Alright, thorn bow, because I will get one of those eventually. Thankfully, archers are one of those classes that's actually surprisingly easy to max out. Alright, those ones, not so much. I do appreciate how they ended up giving these different colors for the portable games, because having them all be one color was a little bit confusing and or annoying. There we go. Good enough. Now, Monsieur Leaderface. You are equipping the wrong thing. Equip that. Big abilities. Congratulations. You can now block arrows. Or just immune to arrows because you know how arrows work. You know, the usual kind of thing that just happens every day in life. So there was this interesting conversation going on yesterday on the TO Discord. Basically just going on about archers and their representations in a lot of games. And yeah, I just feel like reiterating once again, personal opinion on the whole thing. It's, okay, it looks like Thesis Hunt is actually going to be the story one. Oh, this is the one that unlocks sages, I think. Okay. Anyway, so what I was getting at, it's like archers were, in many ways, kind of the, old-timey equivalent of what would now be, an LMG kind of thing. It's like, so many times they're reinterpreted as, oh, they were specifically tricky, or they were specifically able to get past certain things, or, that sort of thing. It's like they were there for suppression. It's not exactly like it was a concept that was only invented in modern times. Suppression was always useful. It was there was never a time when scaring people was not useful for wars. But yeah, so this guy's a sage. He should have no problem. He usually has no problem taking care of himself. But if he ends up getting taken out, then you just end up kind of going and rehiring the. Well, you end up going to rehire yourself from the store in order to go save this guy. Normally he'll just take care of most of it himself. This mission's primarily as set up as a hey look, sages are awesome kind of thing. So here we go. Here's Mr. Augie. He's a sage. He's got a mace. He's got sagacity. He's got drain, which doesn't do jack against zombies, so it sucks for him. Alright, who's going here? You are. Let's have you go this way. So we're going to have the melee guys run forward to deal with the zombies. Casters are going to deal with the flans. Probably have Ramza here go and get some blinds going. There we go. It's only a 50% chance, but still. There we are. Gonna go ahead and miss, because that's just what you do. Also, can't help but notice these zombies. If you look at what's his face, librarian kid. Forget his name. If you look at his dad at the very start, these zombies all look like they could be his dad. It's kind of uncanny. His dad became all the zombies, which actually kind of makes sense because they basically say like the entire world was more or less just based on his imagination. And so his whole thing was like, oh yeah, he loved Final Fantasy games, and he kind of was bummed out about his dad's situation. So he created this whole alternate universe and whatever else, and this dang cat is over here eating my power cord again. Dang it. But yeah, so suddenly his mom's back, and I'm pretty sure his dad's pretty happy about that one. Let's see, zombies are actually the bullies from the start of the game. Yeah, that's true, that's true. I forgot about that. So if you look at their names, yeah, that's exactly who they are. So the names exactly match up. Do these... Let's see, Lomo... Zenus... I don't know if the flans are, but the zombies are. But yeah, good catch on that one. There's a bunch of little details. There's so many nice little details about these games. Whereas these guys are ice, so they're going to be weak to lightning. So you can be all like, pew, and then just pew them with lightning a bunch. I love this music. And here, by the way, is a pretty fantastic little primer and reasons why you should never set all your guys up in a convenient little cross shape here. It's known as they're just going to go drop ice bombs on everybody. Alright, so he's going to go mace this thing, I think. Yep. You know, you've got drain, but sure. Let's go ahead and miss with your mace instead. As you do. As you do. There we go. Go ahead and drop a cure, even though technically speaking, it should probably be more of a recover or repair or whatever else. You're not really curing very much. I'm not really sure that you can cure, stab wounds, but I guess everybody's open to their own interpretations. I mean, I saw a thing the other day. Well, my wife was showing me this thing where a bunch of people got all up in arms because somebody had gotten sick, and their kid had gotten sick. And then apparently, like, it was just like this whole thing where it was your usual cascade of, I went somewhere, friggin' something touched the ground or something, or who the hell knows what, and then the entire family ended up getting sick over one stupid cold or whatever happened. So in this case, as I understand, his kid had just gone to his first day of school. The kid brought back a sickness, and then the dad got sick, and then that ended up being passed all around through the entire family. And so they were going and talking about it and some parenting for him. Then apparently somebody was going and doing the usual overdiagnosis. I just spent an hour on WebMD kind of stuff, and they came up with the conclusion of, oh yeah, this guy, when he got vaccines a little while earlier, also his kid has pneumonia now or something. Vaccines cause pneumonia or something. Like, getting people all riled up and everything else. It's like, he already said his kid just went to school, came back with a sickness. and then that just progressed to a worse thing. It's not like he went and got a vaccine and like it ruined everything forever. People, I don't know. It's the whole anti-vaccine thing is a little bit mind-boggling. It's like, I'm not sure how many countries that's in, but basically it's a thing we see pop up every now and then now, where you get somebody that's really, really uppity about the whole thing, like, oh yeah, they don't believe in vaccines, you know, despite the fact that they're basically proven as all hell at this point. So much so that in some cities, a bunch of previously dead diseases are coming back and everything. But like, every time that you see that coming up, it's never somebody that, like, as soon as they like start talking, you know that nothing intelligent is going to be said in that conversation. And this happens surprisingly often. They're always very vocal when it comes up. And usually there seems to be some ulterior motive, but oh well. Also, this guy just managed to completely miss himself with his own ice. Nice. Okay, let's go for this thing, and alright. Go for lightning. I probably should have gone and finished off that flan on the left. But it would be nice to have these guys out of the way. Thankfully, they don't revive, unlike the TO zombies. So that's pretty convenient. Actually, you know what? One of the best plot lines about in FFTA 2, I think, is the one with the the one with the zombie. Because you basically have the zombie that keeps showing up like, look, I'm not feeling so good. I just need you to go deliver some healing items here, and then you go and you buy those healing items, and you deliver them over. So you can't get sick from others who can't get sick. Yeah, pretty much. That right there about sums it up. Crowd immunity, if it wasn't for that, I'm pretty sure there wouldn't be any anti-vax thing right now. It's like, do you not realize how many hundreds of thousands of people died off from diseases that you are intentionally trying to catch right now? It's like, this was a very well-learned lesson. Oh wait, no, these ones do revive. What am I thinking? Wait, no, it was, crap, it's the ghosts or something, I think, that don't come back. Well, bummer. Okay. We got problems then. Any dang ways, what was I getting at? I've completely lost my train of thought because this cat is over here nibbling on this cord again. No. Little kitty. What part of this cord is not your food do you not understand? Little jerk. Alright, I've completely lost my train of thought now. Oh well, it's probably for the best. Okay, Zambo, you go ahead and get shot at. Nifty. Alright. Can you finish him? Not quite. Yeah, I think FFTA was the one where they finally introduced the ability to cancel out of your moves. As FFT, one of the biggest challenges, and one of the things that I always find a little bit funny whenever there's challenge runs of it, it's like, oh, you gotta always... It's super hard, because you gotta go and, you know, it makes it difficult that you have to go and automatically know where to set all your guys to move and know all the ranges of everything. That makes it all hardcore and strategic and whatever. It's like, if you can't test what ranges you have on everything, how are you gonna know? It seems like an unnecessary challenge. Alright, cat. Seriously, we're about to have words here. You little dingus. There we go. Just have him sit down over here. So this fight, definitely one of the harder ones, as you can probably tell. Just because for every one that you knock down, they end up getting one of your own. A little bit of a challenging one, but such is life. Let's go ahead and drop him one of those. Should have had Fira on this guy, but I forget. Something happened. I don't have that staff. Could have sworn you can get Fira by this point. Something like that. Pretty sure you can. Alright, zombie. Go after zombie. Actually, it's funny because I had to go and double check while going and transferring the save files over, like whether or not I was accidentally playing FFTA-X up to this point with the difficulty, and no, this is just the base game. If you've never tried FFTA-X, it's basically an even harder version of this game. Ends up ends up having a lot of monster units that are pretty disgustingly overpowered. I don't know if I would really recommend it. It had some cool changes and everything, but it's one of these ones where it was really difficult early on, so much so that it bordered on downright frustrating, and then it got to the point where it just was really easy by endgame. I would argue even easier than base game, actually. But yeah, that's the joy of this game. You break everything. Everything is potentially breakable. Alright, this can go ahead and speed up. Okay, Mr. Colin here should be next. Just need Mont Blanc to get one fire off on that flan on the right. Okay, there's another zombie down, and then everybody else should be able to take out that last zombie without much of an issue. So, by the way, is there any lag coming through? Because I'm seeing yellow and orange here. I'm not sure if somebody else in the building is using a crap ton of Wi-Fi or something. Oh. Well, I guess you're gonna go ahead and do it then. Would be useful to go after that zombie, but sure. Okay. Oh, good. Went ahead and finished him off. Yeah, you probably don't want to say that the old man sucked them off, huh? And Lyle's got 61 left. A dang drain move, though. This is, you know what, the really powerful beast units, that's probably a good bit of the reason that they didn't actually let you have outright beast units. You had beast masters that would be able to learn their abilities and everything, but all of the monster units themselves were pretty, I don't know, in comparison with the rest of the series, it's like they managed to go and keep them all in almost mini-boss type status. But then when it came to the actual abilities that you got, you only had the Beastmaster who could learn their abilities but didn't get their stats. It was good. I don't know. I thought it was an okay system. I like doing like monster-only runs and that sort of thing, but I think it was pretty alright. Pretty alright in general. And okay, it's showing green again on stream quality, so hopefully it's all back. And there we go. Fight's done. Go ahead and get a few more points. Man, once we actually get the ability to use those points, it'll be great. So if you didn't know, there's actually two separate uses for those things. You get combos, and it gives you a little bit more damage for every point that you have on you, I think. And then you can combine with several other units who also have points. And then on top of that, okay, there we go. He got first aid, Floor got cure. Sure, why not? We'll just fire people later on. Okay, so you, let's see. Well, you need a different staff, first of all. But the staff that you need is currently being used by her, or him, or... What do you think, her or him? What is this her, him thing? I don't actually know. Alright, so they're a good ways off from that, so we're actually going to switch her back to Fencer for the time being. Maybe have her... There we go. Okay. Pick abilities. Let's go ahead and give you that Y magic back. Probably go back to teaching her Shield Bearer, so that she can go ahead and use that. Do we have anything beyond the Stinger? No. Okay, so we need a new weapon for her. Go ahead and give the Feather Cap. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and go to the store and pick her something else up. That thing at the top should be the next plot progression mission, so it shouldn't expire at any point. Alright. Leave that for the moment. Florette should be not the one I need. Ah, right. She doesn't get any new abilities for a while. Oh, there we go. We'll just go ahead and teach her Protect or maybe Shell? I think we'll go for Protect. Seems a little bit more useful. Pick up the other one too, though. Perfect. Alright, in that case, guess what? You're changing jobs again. And this is why they never should have used the class mark system for TO. Because it's fun swapping somebody back and forth between several different jobs. It makes them feel like they're a working parent. That gives them catch, they'll need it later. Go ahead and give them a staff, except not that staff, it would be the other staff. Probably the main reason that you can't give them a second staff or that kind of thing right away is because then you'd basically have them learning abilities twice as fast on top of the intelligence bonus they'd get out of it, which would be a tad broken, and it's actually one of the things that makes dual wielding ridiculously amazing once you get access to it. Granted, it's like a whole thing to get access to dual wielding, but once you do get it, you can just start training somebody to use double the abilities at once. Or you can have them learning double, well, you can have one unit to learn one ability twice as fast, or you can have them learn two at once. It's pretty great. It's pretty nifty-like. Now, in order to actually get that thing, I think I'm gonna have to pull up that menu again. I was sent this link that basically said where to find certain things, but that's one of those droppable town things. Oh, it's this one. Okay, I like this one. See, good question. Good question right here. Why would they be interested in a thesis? Maybe they're nerdy bandits. But yeah, they're probably looking to sell it back to him. I forget if they actually explain why they say that, or why they did it. Oh, they wanted somebody completely different's thesis. Got you a thesis. But yeah, he's still somehow willing to pay him for it. The cops showed up about the stolen thesis. Oh, dang. But yeah, I don't know. I just always like this setting. And just like everybody's perfectly excused for going completely excessive with all their violence and whatever else. And it's strictly because of the whole judge system. Like if they weren't there, it would be a completely different story. Also, I forgot to give that one guy a different sword. Dang it. Okay, well he's not learning anything new this fight, unless can I mess with your stuff? Yes, I can. Oh wait, you're not the one I needed. You. Status, equip. Something you couldn't do in FFT. Alright. We got Lagless, that one's just for damage. And then Silver for speed break. Go ahead and give him a hat as well so that he's a little bit tankier. And a little bit faster, I believe. And alright. We are good to go. I think this got remixed in later games. Can't be sure though. But one thing I do remember is that for FFTA-X, this one was very, very difficult actually. Just because I think they got Steel Weapon or something like that. It was something ridiculous that they ended up getting. A lot of them had abilities and equipment and whatever else that they shouldn't be able to access for a very long time. Alright, so he took a little bit of damage, but I'm actually just going to go ahead and do Protect here. But I feel like this one does despite the fact that you get less free access to a lot of your skills, you do get more, I guess you're more likely to get to pick the abilities that will be able to help you. Like, they do shoehorn you a little bit, but, or I guess they do funnel you a little bit into where you should be going. But in a way, early on, that's pretty darn helpful. Like, for example, you've got your 2 buffs and a heal for your healers early on, instead of going and specializing in like, oh, I want to get rid of poison, or I want to go be able to cure blindness, or, all of that sort of thing. They're like, no, you might need Shell, you might need Protect, you might need a heal early on. That's what you get. you get one stick to be able to teach one healer, Asuna if you want it. But for the most part, here's what you're gonna need. Here's how we're gonna make that happen. I don't know. I feel like it was a good way of introducing people to the genre. I wish I knew why the stream quality kept going to absolute garbage. It's a little bit frustrating. Still haven't gotten any word if it's lagging on your guys' end. I mean, I've seen 3 folks leave, so I'm fairly certain it must be. But again, on the output side, it's showing all good, so that's a YouTube thing. Alright, we're going to take over this spot. This tile in particular, if their healer gets on it, it's very frustrating to be able to actually get to him. There we go. And if I remember correctly, that thief in the top right is the one that has counter on him. One of these guys has counter. This is kind of your tutorial of like, hey, these guys have reaction abilities. Just so you know. And I think they put it specifically on a thief because they're the one that gets counter. Is it this guy? Yes. Okay. But yeah, it's a nice way of saying, look, thief has counter, just so you know. Later on, this might be useful information for you. Alright, can you finish this guy off? Not with a stick. What about with fire? Yes, that's a bit more likely. See, not lagging on that end. Why do I keep showing orange then? That's weird. Who knows? Mysteries of all of this type setup. Like, okay, the thing that I completely don't get, right? So right now, as far as the different recording setups and everything else, so I've got, I've got the whole X Division thing that kept going and crapping in the bed. I had Sots the Pit, which previously used to lag on the old setup, but now suddenly is perfectly fine. It's actually one of the only ones that's seemingly not lagging at all. But then that same one is going and, what's it? Sorry, I'm trying to figure out where should be dropping this. Yeah, there we go. That should work. No? Well, fine. I guess I just won't drop it there then. Okay, but yeah, Sots the Pit. Turns out that one is doing a pretty fantastic job of not lagging. Before it used to lag a fair bit. Every now and then anyway. It would just kind of stop and get stuck for a little bit. The PSP one almost never lagged. Now I can barely get it to run on this computer. The X Division barely ever lagged. It would occasionally get stuck, and now it's been getting stuck over and over. Some of the other ones just have been getting stuck on a random screen or whatever else, but I think maybe I have the settings figured out now. It's just strange to me that there's so many different things that need to be changed. Just going from one laptop to another. Actually, speaking of laptops, don't know if anybody here took a look at all the Prime Day stuff, but I saw a really interesting thing that Google did. So every now and then I've been going and just taking an interested peek at Chromebooks and just the kind of stuff that they do. So their whole shtick is that unlike Windows or whatever else, they basically boot up ridiculously fast, and they're able to do any kind of online work that you need to do very quickly. So, that's exactly what they're built for. But the funny part is, a lot of their numbers look like they shouldn't be able to move as fast as they do. Apparently a lot of it is just a bunch of stuff being fairly compatible with each other, and a whole lot of specializations in the operating system to allow that to happen. But point being, so I had promised my wife to get her one, right? And so, I was going and looking through and was trying to find one. And I'm looking at one for $140 that's shown as their top seller, right? And I'm thinking, there can't be anything good for $140. And I'm looking at the specs of this thing, and it's pretty comparable to the laptop that I have right now, which was like a 300-something laptop. And yeah, so here's the thing. Its specs are pretty decent. Like it was like 4 gig RAM. They had like an Intel thing on there. I forget which one. either way, fairly newer one. As far as speed goes, it seemed pretty friggin' decent. This was the Chromebook 11, by the way. So the stuff that they actually sacrificed to make that one work is it's not that big, but oh well. You don't really need a huge laptop in most cases anyway. Personally, I prefer like a middle to small size laptop just so they can be carried a little bit easier. But here's the thing. It's only got 16 gigs of memory on the thing, because they took all of the memory and basically said, okay, look, we'll give you like friggin' a terabyte on the Google Cloud thing, but it's only got 16 gigs built in. So almost all the memory is cloud based. So like 16 gig, you couldn't even fit like a bunch of the games on my computer on that thing. But yeah, almost everything could run on. Well, you could store whatever you wanted on a cloud, which worked for my wife because essentially she just needs to store her thousands of pictures. That's not an exaggeration. But yeah, other than that, it seemed like a really solid buy. Just thought it was a nifty little device. I don't know. Actually, this laptop, going down from my last one, has been an interesting change. Because my last one was kind of one of these like beefy widescreen type situations, and yeah, that one was fairly old. Like I said, that's why this newer, smaller one had basically comparable, slightly improved specs, allegedly. And yeah, what was I trying to say here? Oh yeah, so it just feels really nice now because that thing was kind of a bit of a thing to haul around. Like if I wanted to pick up my little computer lap desk and move it somewhere else, it was a little bit of a thing. Sometimes stuff would want to try to fall over and all that sort of thing. Now with this one, just like could pick it up with 2 fingers if I wanted to. It's all smaller and light and it's like a featherweight thing. It's great. Like hell, I think it said its weight was like 1.5 pounds or something. But it's really convenient. I don't know. There's something always very satisfying about having a relatively high-performance, ridiculously light laptop. Actually, speaking of little... I know, I'm going on retarded tangents everywhere, because this fight is turning into a slog. By the way, right there, just shows how friggin' good Protect is in this game. He went from doing 20 to doing 4. Unfortunately, his protection is over now. His protection has ended. Oh yeah, so there are these GBA wins, as they're apparently called, or GDA, GBA, I don't know, GDC, no, GCD, GPD, I think GPD win, I think is what it's called. They're basically something that should have existed for a while, but they took all of the technological rejects of the world and shoved them into a handheld. If you're wondering what the hell I'm talking about, it's like, okay, 32-bit operating systems, nobody uses those. Like, high-performance, really tiny laptops, there's a good bit of them that never seemingly sold, and essentially became, there were a bunch of parts for them, but nobody really wanted them because they either wanted something small to carry around or they wanted something high-performance. There really wasn't too much of a need for something in the middle in a lot of cases, especially for some of the fancier ones. But here's the thing. I was excited when I had found out about the Vita getting hacked. I was more excited when I found out that these things existed because it's basically like Steam and whatever else on a little handheld thing. I was actually going to do like a little video later to try and advertise a little bit of those to see if I can maybe get some commissions on selling some, but they're literally just like a 32-bit tiny gaming computer that displays at a pretty okay resolution because it's on a tiny screen. But yeah, it's just like a friggin' handheld. It's like if somebody made a morbidly obese DS, that's what this thing looks like. I mean, it's not the most, appealing, but the fact that, you basically could have like friggin' Dark Souls 3 on a handheld kind of situation, that sounded amazing to me. So, they can't do everything. Like, my friend was pointing out, they can't do, like Battlefield 4 or whatever. But still, most things don't require a 64-bit operating system, so they can do a lot of amazing stuff. So them things looked really cool. I kind of want one. I really want one, in fact. But hell, I need to be able to afford to pay the bills first. Such is life. Such is life. I always gotta wait for payday and all that sort of thing. Alright. Yoink. You'll continue shanking that guy. Yeah, this guy is gonna be pretty sturdy in the front lines here. But alright. I think I might call it after this one. It's a little bit of a shorter part. But it's going on a fair ways, you know. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe I'll just do one part per story progression, since I always prefer to do all of the side stuff before moving on to the story. Seems like it might be a good way to do it. We'll see. I think I'll probably actually... No, you know what? I'm going to keep this going until I get interrupted, because I am expecting the doorbell to beep dang near any moment here. So whenever that happens, it happens. But yeah, so I think GPD Win, I think that's what it was called. Let me see if I can log into the thing and pull up a link for it. Oh dang, it's not liking me opening up Chrome. Yeah, I'm still figuring out what exactly interacts with what. So one thing that I found really funny is part of the reason that the PSP stuff was lagging so badly lately. For whatever reason, the drivers for the PS3 controller apparently are somehow related to DX11. Which is what this laptop does a far better job using OBS with, or rather using PPSSP with, which creates a weird situation where I guess both are trying to use the same program or something, and I can only assume that it's basically choking because it doesn't know what to do. It's at least the most reasonable explanation I've been able to come up with so far as to why exactly it lags so much, but oh well. Such is life. There we go. I mean, Chrome lagging stuff up, that's not exactly anything new. I did try to go ahead and use, whatever it's called, Firefox for a little bit, but it didn't exactly feel like it was helping at all, and I'm more familiar with Chrome, you know, data leakage and everything else included. It just feels a little bit faster, even if it may not be. Like, I think Chrome is probably the best thing around as far as, as far as being just a general low-impact browser. If anybody knows any different, please do go ahead and inform me, because I'd prefer to keep everything as low-impact as possible on this little computer. Oh, okay, never mind. Mr. Jalam here is kind of getting kablammed. Alright, go ahead and chug on that drink. For some reason, one of these CAPTCHA things is being a bit of a problem. Okay, now let's find this link here. Where is it? I know it's in here someplace. I think it was GPD Win. Now, there may be 64-bit versions. I'm assuming that's why there's a couple of these that are friggin' priced at $900 or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. It seems well out of the point of being actually useful once you get to the $900 thing. But these ones that are like $300, that stuff's good. I mean, that seems... Like, honestly, if I had a choice between a Switch and this thing, I would definitely get this thing. Again, this is just kind of based off of what I've seen. I could be wrong on that, but here's the thing. I went and I saw a bunch of different reviews for them and all that sort of thing, and what I saw is the fact that they were able to run PS2 games. And basically, what worked out in that case was, at this point, as far as PCS X2 goes, that thing never seems to want to run right on most computers. So if these handhelds are able to run it well, like people claim that it can, then essentially it's finally a way to be able to play a lot of the more, I guess, more specialized Armored Core games on the go. I'll be able to play some San Andreas on the go on a version that isn't a friggin' mobile thing. Okay, let's see. If you like Chrome, you should try out Chromium, which is a fork of Chrome with less BS that you don't need. Like all the analytical stuff. Yeah, that's... Hang on, I thought Chromium... Okay, I'll try out Chromium. I thought that one was actually just like one of those copied programs that ends up stealing your info or something. Because I remember I used Chromium a while ago, and then it kept having a bunch of issues. But it might have just been that computer, because bear in mind that laptop I was using at that time was... Oh man, that thing was riddled with all kinds of nonsense. I put way too many things that I should not have put on there. But okay, here, I'm putting the link to those dealies, by the way. So that's the device I was talking about. I'm not putting the link for the sake of shilling it unless somebody feels like buying it, but those things look really cool. Like, if you've actually bought one before, please let me know if it's actually able to run PCSX2 well, because people have told me it can, and if that's the case, I'm really freaking excited. Because that means finally get to play some Nexus on the go or something. Like some AC Nexus or Outbreak or something. Actually made by Google. I mean, it sounds right, it's just... Yeah, I don't know, maybe I had some different version, or maybe there was some incompatibility from having like 4 different browsers on that computer. Also, I apologize for slapping the microphone there. Let's see, that being said, I haven't used ordinary Chrome and Fear. Okay, I will try it. I will give it a go as soon as I'm done with this thing. Because it would be nice to have some... I'm basically trying to cut down all bulk possible on this laptop. Since, again, it seems like it's capable of running at relatively high speeds, but running more than one thing at once causes it to choke a bit. So yeah, that should hopefully help. It's actually the first time in a long time I've had to go and mess with a lot of the resolution settings in OBS. Previously, I just had it running at max resolution all the time. Now I can technically have it run in HD, but for some reason it ends up running over HD for some reason. However that exactly works. But if I set it at exactly HD, everything's fine, and it basically shows the same exact picture. So, yeah, it makes sense, sure. All of it completely makes sense, and I totally understand it. It's funny, despite technically going to school for a good bit, for a lot of technical stuff, a lot of it just flies over my head because I have a tendency to overthink stuff that does not need overthinking. Get made fun of for that all the time. Like, I kid you not, it's a regular thing that I'll be looking for something and my wife will just be giving me this look of like, I will flat out murder you if you don't find this thing. And I'm looking around desperately trying to find something that's like an inch away from my face, and like I kid you not, giant friggin', like, if you've seen those giant igloo cups, it has like this giant red igloo cup that we won at this kind of lottery thing a while ago, and yeah, things right in front of me, and I'm looking around the entire apartment, and it's like right in front of me the entire time. The only thing on a dresser that's sitting in the middle of the room as if it's on a freaking pedestal. This happens all the time. It's probably my biggest issue that always gets me into issues, that I end up missing something obvious right in front of me. Such is life, such is life. Everyone's got their flaws. Alright, keep instinctively pressing square here to try to get everybody's health info. But I can't have it. And I guess we might as well put Protect on, because she can't get anywhere, because there's a dead guy in the way. There we go. But yeah, so far, since messing with the resolution settings, I haven't seen as much of the whole getting stuck in, like, frame rate hell thing. That used to be a pretty regular thing. Basically, what would happen is it would start recording something, it would be perfectly fine, and then suddenly it just stops. Like, it'll continue doing audio, it'll continue doing everything else, but it will just be stuck displaying that one static image for the rest of the time. So apparently that was a resolution thing. So I think I may have found a hard resolution to that problem. Maybe. Kinda. Sorta. Hopefully. You know, also, now that I think about it, I think this is the only Yeah, I think this is the only Matsuno-esque game that doesn't actually allow you to convert units. Well, this and FFTA too, I guess. But that's probably because it would be really overpowered to recruit some of them. Like, you could get some ridiculously amazing dudes at times when you really should not be able to. Also, I find it a little bit hilarious that the archer managed to go and shoot at the only guy that's actually immune to arrows. The only guy in the entire team, and honestly, he's not even that lightly armored. He just really wanted to stand up there, I guess. He probably was getting into a sort of runaway AI. Alright, Mr. Thief guy showing up to completely well, not team up on everybody. He's here to completely clean up the team like he usually does. So that one over-leveled thief that shows up to the side, funnily enough, he isn't mentioned in the cutscene. The cutscene guy is on the top side usually. The one that shows up to the shows up kind of on the cliff where the judge is right now. He's just a little bit stronger than everybody else, and has counter, and it makes him that much more dangerous. And now I'm suddenly lagging for some reason. I'm not sure what that's about. Okay, apparently we're back. The joys of recording. Nothing seems to want to ever work right. Let's see. Apparently, Chrome is based on Chromium rather than the other way around. Might not be good for you since you stream and it doesn't have certain codecs built in. Well, I mean, it's not like I directly use the browser for anything. I just usually have it on in the background for other stuff. So usually, for example, when I'm going and doing the profiles and tacticalness or whatever else things, usually for those ones I'll have some music playing in the background or something like that. Didn't get poison. Wasn't worth the risk. I'll have to check, because usually they end up getting categorized as, oh, you know, which one's faster, and I don't want which one's faster, I want the one that takes the least RAM, you know? Okay, their healer's out of juice. They're going to be regenning a little bit, but not very much. This feels like the best way to do a magic system, if you ask me. Is then they end up still regenerating over time, but they don't end up regenerating that fast. It's kind of the best of both worlds in many ways. Actually, I was saying earlier, you know, I find that a lot of my favorite games were Matsuno-inspired rather than actually made by him. Probably, like, as much as I love FFT and Vagrant Story and all that, like, he's amazing at doing worlds, not so good at doing balance. Like, as far as the actual game balance and all that sort of thing. Like, as much as I loved Lucht and, you know, the Lucht remake and all that, personally I thought between the 3 Tactics Ogre games, Knight of Lotus was much better balanced. Ogre Battle was its own thing, and I felt that one got the balance pretty well right. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. For some reason I'm thinking he's a melee class. Oh well. Smack this guy with a stick then. Donk. They make such a weird passing out sound. Actually, speaking of, gonna be doing March of the Black Queen tomorrow. Need to continue that mosquito run. Also, wow, 90% dodge. Nice. Alright, see if you can swarm strike. A little bit risky from the front. Can you get to his back? Not quite. Alright, well, I'm gonna go for it. Gotta risk it, you know? I have others that can potentially back her up, but this is worth it. Shame. She tried. She tried. Oh well, this is in the bag one way or another. This one guy is crazy evasive. There we are. So it's mostly just his equipment and that one skill that's different. So with him, so he has a better dagger. I think the other guy has like a friggin' pocket knife or something. That guy has a Chris, a headband, and some chainmail. I think the other guy's leather and a pocket knife. Something like that. Dang it. Seriously, GBA emulator? You're lagging? Wait, you can't handle all this intensity right now? Oh, that's impressive. Right. care to explain why exactly you're lagging? Okay. So... Okay, that's bordering on unwatchable. Come on. Don't crap the bed now. Why are you doing this? Sorry, hang on, I don't know why... Why in the ever-loving Christ are you doing this? Come on. Yeah, going to 34%, for crying out loud. What the hell is that? It's strange. Like, looking at the percentages here, it's like fluctuating between 30 and 90% for some reason. Like, it's just flat out crapping itself for no apparent logical anything, really. Okay, control panel. Fix. Oh, okay, I found a solution. So it turns out that for one reason or another, the Discord thing is stuck in permanent loading status right now, which is causing it to cause that little bit of a hiccup. Strange as that may be. Alright. Yeah, that's good enough odds. If I ever need him to take a guaranteed shot, I can always use a combo. It's kind of probably the reason that they gave you that ability early on. And we're done here. Okay, so yeah, Discord is being freaky for some reason. But now the Discord's gone, it's working a little bit better. That's why I usually don't like to use desktop apps of stuff. Table of contents. I love how he's actually checking if all the thesis pages are there. I think this is when they start addressing that he wants to go into wars. So oh yeah, you know, just casually competing for turf. It's like fighting in the middle of cities. Just casual gang wars. This guy's like, oh gee, am I getting in your way even though I'm, like, all my stats are completely better than yours? Gee, I hope not, I'm not getting in your way, and that doesn't sound like a very friggin' Nubswood, where the hell? Dang it, I should pull up that guide again. I usually like putting Nubswood over here. Yeah, I'm gonna put it there, whatever. Okay, didn't get any hidden items out of that. You know, one of the towns has to go exactly right here. I think something with an N in it, if I recall. I'll remember it when I see it. But that's for the Syncadia. So once you get the Syncadia, you're able to go do Steel Weapon, which is ridiculously good. So first off, apparently cutscene. Like, oh, I might be busy with all those wars you haven't participated in yet. It's like, oh yeah, keep your distance from all those other clans. They're dangerous for exactly one time when you actually encounter them all. And then once you actually have everybody's item slots filled out, they don't even matter. They're basically just free grinding experience after that. Like, once you get an illusionist and stuff like that, you can literally have them last maybe only 2 rounds. It's pretty great. Actually, speaking of getting an illusionist, what is your status here? Okay, you need a few more to go. So you need 4 more battles. Which should... let's see. I think it's 5 black mage, 3 white mage. Something like that. And use steel weapon from a certain fight. Yeah. In particular, I'm thinking the bow that gives Ultima, but there's a few other ones I'd like to get to. I don't remember all of them, but honestly, whenever I have a character getting all the steel abilities, I just have them go around jacking everybody's crap left and right. There's really no restraint at that point. Alright. Nullify, Sleep, and Doom. Doom. Get them a bit more defense. Useful stuff. Okay. Let's see your learning situation. 3 more to go. See, Swordbreaker gives you Steel Weapon, but you can use Steel Weapon sooner than you get a Swordbreaker. Yep. Alright. Do I want to have him start on that? I think I'll have him learn one more of these abilities. Yeah, because he's only got 2 more battles to go to learn that. Unless I want him to learn the other one too, because I think he's got aim arm after that. And then that'll give him a little bit more utility in fights. Honestly, I have a tendency to turn my main character into a completely worthless fighter, but a very effective backup character. I don't know, I just do that almost every single time. Like in FFTA 2, I had a hunter paladin type setup. So they were just going around taking hits and pretty much only serving the role of a monster leader. Okay, let's go to Poob. Woody's in Poob. Actually, no, let's go to Rumors first. Clash and Clans, nifty. The tourneys, yes, I love the tourneys. I always love tourneys. They're so great. Alright, exemptions from laws, and then that kind of thing, and skill levels and clan turf. Skill levels, they're a background thing that you never pay attention to, ever. Alright, Sky Pole. Heard of the Sky Pole? They say it's a stairway to the gods. Ooh, Ancient Metal. Okay. Send out a dude. Let's go send out you. It's just their level that decides whether they succeed or not, so that's why you're usually better off just replacing everybody that comes in with newer folks. Okay. Well, we don't have any white thread. Okay, so the other one unlocks this one. Ancient Studies homework was taken. If we had some ancient object, we can do it again. 4th grade swords. I think Babbins is supposed to be Baggins, but I'm not sure. Oh well. It's just one of those funny little why nots kind of thing. Okay. So I'll do that later. That one is... yeah, bug infestation. So this one is... that's progress. See, Thief has been coming and stealing our chickens. Definitely. So we already have a barong, so don't need that, but we get an Atmos Blade out of it if we want to make a fighter. Alright, we'll go ahead and do that. And then a fight with the cheetahs. Oh no, wait, no, I think this might be progress. Okay, no cancellations. Is this one cancellations? Yes. Yes, it is. Yeah, that's a dispatch one, though. Okay, he's not sure he can do it. She's sure she can. He's sure he can. You know what? I'll send him out. He hasn't been terribly useful on fights. Alright, so he's got to go win a fight against 3 guys. So we're going to go kill a few days, go deal with this one. Let me double check on the fighter guy real quick here. Or on the soldier. Alright, so he's almost learned Power Break. Yeah, so that'll be good after that. How are you doing on your learning? Also 2 more battles. Okay. So we'll be down 1 guy. Actually, we don't even necessarily need to be down 1 guy. In fact, we don't even need to go anywhere. Let's go ahead and make you a caster. We're just going to go ahead and throw you in the front lines and hope you make it. So, you know, good luck with that. What's the law today? No missiles. No, we're going to go 1 day and then we're going to come back. There we go, so that will block silence. Clan War. So yeah, at this point, free grinding is basically unlocked. Alright, if I recall correctly, this is a fight against just 1 guy. He's just really strong, and in the FFTA X mod, he was stupid strong. Alright. There we are. Alright, 3 on 1. So I'll probably want Power Break. I do want to... yeah, you know what? This is fine. Like, it's not perfect, but it'll do. It'll do. Nothing to do but fight it out. You don't say. This is just... I don't know, everything about this whole setting is just hilarious to me. The guy stole chickens and a team of mercenaries. But yeah, I think he has counter, and I think he has steel accessory, if I recall. Let me double check. Okay, no, he just has defense plus steel and counter. Fair enough. Very doable. So you're going to go ahead and just do a power break on him. And or just damage. The Kukri is kind of a later game weapon, so any debuffs right now would be handy. Go ahead and go for a blackout. This is pretty much a hard 50% no matter what. So there we go. Perfect. So now his counter shouldn't be that threatening. There we go for this. Let's see. Is this A2 on the DS or the original GBA? The portraits look like the DS. They actually would have near identical portraits because they did end up porting over a lot of the same assets. But this is the original GBA one. So this is the one with the law system that people are so annoyed by. So yeah, there we go. He does 75% of his health bar. This guy's a little bit strong. But yeah, between the two, this one's definitely the harder one. But I don't know. I always love this one. Like, it's the one that I kind of got into first and absolutely loved it. It's got its flaws, sure, but it's a very charming little game. So you have to check that out sometime. Really enjoyed A2. Yeah, so bear in mind they have a completely different approach to a lot of their systems. Actually, if you want to get a lot more of that A2 feel, there's a mod that was FFTA 2 redesigned. That one is absolutely amazing. I did a few parts on it a little while ago, and actually would like to continue going on with that one as soon as I finish this one. But yeah, redesigned, pretty fantastic FFTA 2 mod. The law system in this one, like the whole story is kind of like there's just a whiny kid that's running the government, which is looking weirdly realistic right now. But the point being that he's constantly going around and asking for more and more laws the whole time. So every single day the laws change. There we go. We got a whole bunch of abilities mastered. I mean, most of the game mechanics are pretty similar. But like right here, you basically have a different law coming in every day. So FFTA 2, they just had set laws under certain situations. In this one, you just have different laws. And early in the game, you get 1 law, then you get 2 laws, then you get 3 laws. And you get cards that you get at the end of fights that you use to alter those laws. So you basically have this constant thing where both you and the AI have to follow the rules, as opposed to the way FFTA 2 did it, which was that you got a bonus out of it. So in this one, if you end up breaking those laws, your guys end up getting punishment. Like sometimes they'll end up having their stats reduced, sometimes they'll have some of their items confiscated, sometimes they'll just go to jail until you bail them out. It's like there's a whole bunch of stuff to it. It's relatively harsh in some cases. But either way, potentially very good. So it's like one of those ones it's really good if you pay attention to it, but then it sometimes gets in the way of some of the fun if you're just playing casually. All right, so let's go ahead and give you a new bow. I want him to at least learn this, so he's going to get aim legs. Later on, he'll get aim arm. I think that's the nail bow that ends up giving him that. And then after that, he should be able to become a hunter. But yeah, FFTA 2 is easily one of my favorites. It's such a dang good game. Alright. So, Mumpok. Why can't you change jobs yet? I think I need to have him become a... Yeah, I think I need to have him become a thief. So maybe I'll just have him be a gunner thief in this case. What do we have for knives? We have this one, which teaches hurl. That's not terribly useful. Alright, so we're going to need a knife of some description for you. Does that teach you anything? No, that's for an animist. Well, whatever, it's just stats for now. Alright, let's go to the shop and pick up some new goodies. Oh, we got some new things in stock, yes. Like Iron Helm. Thank you very much. Got some iron armor. What else? Got some new vests. Yeah, maintenance. Definitely gonna get that from Mont Blanc. Survival vest. Let's see what's this do. Okay, this is just a flat upgrade, so we can get rid of the hemp robes. What else? We got a Buster Sword. And yes, it is exactly a reference to that one. Sweep Blade, Shadow Blade, so at this point they expect that you might have potentially unlocked fighters, but I haven't just yet. Alright, so a Jackknife. Yeah, I think Steel Shield and Steel Gill, that's what we're gonna go with. Alright, let's go ahead and sell some of this crap. Thankfully there's a much lower emphasis on actually going around and selling stuff in this game. Normally I like the ability to go and mess with the economy and all that sort of thing, but in this case it's nice. Just less menus to go through. Does this teach anything weird? I mean, I don't know why exactly you felt the need to... I mean, it specifically says that it doesn't teach anything. Could have said, like some of these other ones, that you just can't learn anything from it. Whatever. Funnily enough, right here, the blue saber, it's the only one that, let's see, the vest and I think a shield and this saber are the only things that a blue mage can actually learn from their equipment. Other than that, they have to get attacked. Alright, now what's the Jimbaya do? Steel accessory. That's really strong, but we'll get that later. Alright, actually, yeah, it might be bugged. I don't know. That's what I was wondering about too, because I could have sworn it was a bit more useful than that. Oh well. Another nice thing that they ended up changing in FFTA after FFT is that they ended up... dang it, I apologize for constantly losing my train of thought. I'm an idiot as far as that goes. But, let's see. Apply words, use them in language. As far as your guys that you send out on jobs, they just automatically come back, so you don't have to go back to the town to actually go pick them up. Let's not even mince words there. That the whole mechanic was a little bit annoying. Because we got Legless and we got Buster. Can I just make him into a fighter now, though? No. Okay, so he needs to use the Buster to become a fighter. It's actually interesting that they even gave the ability to do anything else then. Alright, so he's going to become our main tank. There we are, and there we are. It's always good to have a nice frontline tank. Now what's it? Is this the right one? No, I gave you the wrong vest. So let's give you the Adamant vest. Let's give you... what's the survival vest for? Let's put him on you, even though a friggin' what looks like a vest for going to the dang park is never going to be better than chainmail, but whatever. Alright, we're actually going to go ahead and save real quick, because I kind of want to go ahead and fight these guys. I know I haven't gotten my main healer back yet, but that's perfectly fine. Alright, Cyril, seems like an okay map. Let's see, did you rip your own ROM, or is it downloaded? I got it off Emu Paradise, just because, well, I'm not terribly good at the whole ripping thing. Every time that I've tried doing the whole ripping thing, I've resulted in all kinds of jank nonsense. So I finally figured, screw it, let's just take the easy route on that one. Oh wait, did I already get my healer back? Wait, I never lost my healer. Right. I sent that other guy out. Okay, disposable mage. Right, you're here. Yeah. You know, it might have just been some emulator thing. Who knows? But as it goes, you know, you live, you learn some new bugs. There's always something new somewhere. So I'm thinking after this I'll probably have to go then. It's because I got maybe 13 more minutes, give or take. Mr. Horrors over here. It's always funny trying to figure out, well, how they decided to kind of go for almost gender ambiguity in a lot of these cases. They've got so many units around. They're like, just make everybody kind of look like both. All right, let's have you go this way. Actually, no. Let's have you just wait by this tree. I might need him to do stuff later. Let's have you go over here. I'll just use first aid for some free XP. There we go. I think that gives them free XP still. Yeah, 10 XP. Alright, 24. Yeah, as far as archers go, I think the reason that I always like making the main character into an archer in both these games is just because they, most of your generics have slightly lower stats. So the archers in general have pretty iffy power. Like overall, they're more about their trick shots than they actually are about damage. And that's why they get certain abilities that make them specialize in certain abilities. Well, certain abilities make them specialize in certain abilities, the dumb man said. No, what am I getting at here? That's why they get certain things that are good against certain other things, like Sidewinder for the hunters, for example, where it'll pretty much be an insta-kill against most monster units, but then will also be pretty much just normal shot against anybody else. Okay, Steel Shield. Oh, crap. I forgot to give him his casting abilities. Alright, that guy doesn't have a shield. If you ever wondered why these guys came in with next to no equipment, it's probably because of all the steel abilities. Because they all will only come in with 2 items. See, obviously not a Matsuno game, or archers would be OP. Yeah, probably. Well, I mean, I guess not necessarily. They were only kind of average and or non-existent in Ogre Battle. I mean, in FFT, they could be strong, but they were kind of garbage, especially with the crossbow. Oh man, those FFT crossbows were such garbage. It's like, how would you like to give away all of your range and all of your elevation advantage and all of the power from the bow and all of the extra effects from the bow? But there's a 15% chance you'll inflict darkness. Oh dang, so useful. Or poison. They gave the crossbows, like, it's almost like they went point for point to all of the most worthless abilities, and they're like, okay, let's make the crossbows really low power. Let's give them no range to speak of. Let's give them really unforgiving elevation stuff, and then let's go ahead and just like completely screw them over by making their only justifiable use here the fact that they can use a bunch of status effects that are hands down, like, by and large going to be the worst ones in the game. Like, you get darkness, you get poison, I think you get what's that? I think one of them's confusion, and I think one of them's oil or something. Like, I don't know, they're really weird ones. And then, yeah, I guess he felt bad for the Tactics Ogre remake, and he was like, oh yeah, no, look, I felt bad about those archers. Now they have anti-tank bows. If you equip them with a 2-handed crossbow, they get a grenade launcher. Okay. That's balanced. I see no problem with this, sir. Yeah, I like to think that the whole development for the PSP remake was literally just like Matsuno comes in and just snorts an entire cereal bowl of cocaine, and then just like he just blurts out ideas a million at a time, and all of his programmers are just there jotting down notes like, okay, weather system, got it. Some kind of friggin' political system that you won't be able to find out until you're about 700 battles into the game. Okay, got it. Okay, we need to have another thing over here where you have an ability that tells you exactly how the weather system is doing. Oh, and we need to have some background luck system. We need to have a background luck system on top of that luck system. And like just going over and over and over and over and over through all these different things, and then he just like passes out, and they put in as many of the abilities as they could. It's the only way to explain some of the stuff in there. Like the best one literally is there's one that Warren gets once you literally go to hell to rescue him. It's like after you already beat the game, after you already did a bunch of stuff, and then you basically literally go into hell, pull him out. Like, yeah, no, he was stuck on the other side of the Chaos Gate. And then one of his abilities is the ability to see how many skill points somebody has acquired, which is literally something that's on the menu. Why? What are you going to do with that? You have 10 slots that are already pretty much full all the time. Why would you ever need that? It's good stuff. It's good stuff. Like, don't get me wrong, that's easily one of my favorite games ever. It's just such a weird decision, you know? Oh man, there were so many weird things with it. But that's why One Vision made it amazing. Let's see, I'm almost there, still farming San Bronze right now. Have you tried One Vision yet? Like the mod? Like if 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 you want to get the best possible Tactics Ogre experience, like dude, One Vision, there's no question. It's everything I have ever wanted from a strategy game. Like literally everything. Like he basically redid every mechanic of the game and just made it better. So far, like I haven't been able to look at a single thing and honestly say like, oh yeah, that was, maybe that shouldn't have been removed. Like no, every single aspect. I play them side by side on a regular basis on the same freaking game system, and it's just like every little detail is improved, without question. It's kind of miraculous, actually. All right, like, okay, so what impresses me about the way that he does stuff, though, is because it'll literally be a thing where a bunch of people just like swarm him with ideas or whatever else. Like he'll just be working on a mechanic. He's like, like let's see, how did he do this? Like with the weapon side grades, people had all kinds of ideas for unique weapons and unique references and unique side grades and everything else and all this different stuff. And he went and he just like improved on every single thing that somebody threw out there. It's just amazing. But yeah, it's just so dang good. Like, okay, the crafting system, probably one of my personal favorite changes because the crafting was so bizarre in the original game. It basically, to the other guys here that may not have seen the original, there was this whole crafting system that was kind of reminiscent of Monster Hunter in a way. I've been told it's very similar to the way FF11 did it. But yeah, basically it was this whole thing where you had to go and collect a crap load of really rare items, and then you had maybe like a 60% chance that your crafting will even succeed, and then all those items are just deleted and you have to reload. Because there's no way you're just going to go and, re-grind out 20 fights for the sake of getting one item. So, either way, so then you would just reload it. It really broke the flow of the game in many ways, which was kind of an odd one. Okay, let's see. Honestly afraid to. TO is special to me. A bit scared of what kind of rebalancing might do. So, here's the thing. The way that he redid all of it, and you may have seen that in the videos. I know I play like a retard sometimes, but basically the entire intention when he was going into the game was to try and improve immersion and try to basically just improve the flow of the game as much as possible. So, for example, like crafting was absolutely busted before. He fixed that. For a lot of ranged attacks, they ended up taking a really long time, so he sped up the projectiles to something a bit more realistic. When it came to a lot of the abilities, he just made them make more sense. Like, for example, with Knights, they had Rampart Aura and Rampart Shadow. There was almost never a point to use Rampart Shadow. So, for example, every time that you use them, it was odds are because you didn't have a kill move for them to use. Because at 75, you're really just better off waiting to get to 100 and going and using the kill move at that point. So the AI would always use them, but the player never would. So it was basically one of those things where, it's this ability that the AI is too stupid to not use. So he basically reduced the cost, he changed the name of the thing, and he changed the way a few of the little background functions of it. So now both sides are much more capable of using it. Or stuff like Terranites, where, constantly there was this thing of like, why do so many AI teams end up using Terranites? These guys suck. And so the way that he ended up changing that is he basically made them a complement to Knights. So whereas Knights put down Rampart Shadows, the Terranites are capable of blowing them up. Actually, you know what? Hang on one quick moment. I have to go do something real quick. Sorry about that. It was time for one of the kiddos to get up real quick. Oh, one moment. Okay, so what I was getting at, so for example, like Terranites there, you see a lot of the AI guys go and use those guys, and they were really, really bad. So the way that they ended up changing them, they ended up being a perfect, in my opinion, counterpart to the knights. So like the knights ended up getting all the one-handed weapons, so they get like one-handed swords, one-handed spears, which are now a thing, one-handed hammers, one-handed axes. The Terror Knights end up getting the two-handed variants of everything but the spears. Instead, they get cudgels. Most of their casting abilities were reworked so that they actually have a chance to hit. Not to mention, they actually, like, Steel Health, for example, is based off percentage instead of their actual intelligence stat. So they're able to go and use that effectively. Like, for example, if there's a dragon with a ton of health, they're going to do well over 100 damage to the thing. Whereas if it's just some rando guy that's a critical health, it'll do next to nothing. It's a really cool way that he did that. They get the ability to counter rampart auras by essentially blowing them up in the user's face. They still have all their old scaring abilities and all of that, and they're just generally the offensive counterpart to to the defensive knight. So yeah, those ones are pretty dang amazing. They ended up like reworking the Ruin Fencers into Spell Blades, so they ended up becoming a far better support class. They lost access to healing abilities. Actually, I should mention, just like healing in general is less available but much more potent. So, for example, clerics got reworked, where in base game they were functionally worthless. In the mod, they end up doing this whole thing where they're able to equip better armor. They're able to actually inflict poison with claws and all that sort of thing. They're able to actually hold their own, and not to mention they're one of the few that actually get access to healing abilities. So all of those end up scaling up now, so they end up doing a lot more damage. It's really, really good. Like a lot of times when there's a mod of a game, there's that same worry of, is this going to change all of the flow and everything else? And honestly, it's one of those rare amazing cases where it actually improves it. Like, it actually takes what was already there and just improves upon it. It fixes the stuff that was broken, like, for example, archers. They're probably the only ones that got the most straight up nerf to them. So archers got changed in that they're much slower firing. They have a lot less damage output, to the point where they actually will plink off of armor, as they realistically should. But they're very good at harassing. They have much better range, and not to mention they have options to further improve their range even more at the cost of some of their speed. So they're pretty much the ultimate harassment unit, but they're not meant for the purpose of going and just being the front line of only archers and outspeeding everybody and outbeating everybody and all that sort of thing. The whole kill move system got reworked, so they end up. Oops, didn't mean to do that. So the kill move system got reworked in a way where all of them are more for the sake of doing some unique effect. Like, for example, if it's something that's meant to be powerful, like an axe or a hammer, they are still going to get a few things in their kill move list that give damage, or rather that scale up their damage, whereas other things, like, for example, bows and swords and all that kind of thing, are more for the sake of doing a debuff of some description. So, for example, with a bow, they still have their original leaden move as their start one, but they get, let's see, come to think of it, I haven't checked a lot of the newer bow ones. Their sleep move is still very useful. They lost their charm move. I believe that got replaced with a confusion move of some description. Hang on, which was that one? Was that a wither? I forget. The bow one changed not too long ago, so that one's a little bit different. But for example, with crossbows, Brimstone Hail used to be an AoE straight-up grenade explosion that scaled with TP, or scaled damage. Was absurdly strong. And probably anybody who's ever tried to do a no KOs run just immediately hated that move every single time they saw it pop up on screen. But yeah, a lot of parts of that challenge was just seeing anything with a crossbow and deleting it before I could do anything. But okay. So the way he ended up changing it is, for example, Brimstone Hail just does a stun. You get your Binding move as your secondary one. You get Poison one, I believe, is your third. And again, with the fourth one, I want to say it was a slow or something like that. A lot of them were basically different types of debuffs plus damage. So, for the most part, you weren't using kill moves for the sake of damage. You were mostly using them for the sake of changing the fight in some interesting manner. Like axes, for example, their very first one, instead of doing silence, which never really made sense, just axes in general are just far stronger, and their first move scales damage and does slow. So very, very effective if you are looking for that kind of thing. But yeah, point being, it's really good, and you should try it. Happen to like it very much and stuff. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have done several hundred videos on it. Any dang ways. Let's see. Okay, I have no idea what that says, but I think infantile is... I'm assuming they're talking about the baby in the background. Yes, the baby was crying in the background for a second. I apologize. They're off and playing now. Alright. I think it's probably time to do a little bit of healing here. We're winning this fight. There's not... Well, you end up losing a little bit of reputation, and I believe some money for losing these fights. But I think we're alright. But yeah, no. So, long story short, TLDR, the One Vision mod is one of those very, very, very few cases where it legit just improved every aspect of the game. Oh, never played this because it seemed childish? Your units can straight up die in this. They, like, literally, if you go into a ghetto, the judge won't go there, because I guess they're too worried about the gangs or something. And you actually can get a game over there from either Mont Blanc or Marsh getting killed. But yeah, no, it's actually, weirdly enough, it's, I don't want to say realistic-ish, but it's like, as far as how people would be reacting in this kind of scenario, it feels, I don't know, it feels weirdly authentic. And yeah, it's definitely a common complaint about this game, but it's definitely got a lot more going for it than many actually consider at face value. I mean, it's got a lot of interesting mechanics, it's got a lot of cool stuff in it, and it's definitely got a lot of interesting strategies that you could potentially do and or become subject to. Actually, a lot of the stuff in FFT carries over to this one very well, and I know I was also kind of confused going from FFT to this. I was kind of expecting to see where all the, carryover would be, but oh well. Yeah, there we go. That's the right way to put it. Not realistic or gritty, but it has internal consistency. But yeah, it's definitely a different tone. It's, I don't know, the way that I mentally always classified it is just like Harry Potter-esque, where it's got dire stuff going on all over the place, but, the overall surface looks kind of childish. But then as soon as you dig deeper, it's like, wow, this place is actually pretty jacked up if you think about it. But yeah, they definitely are. They've got some amazing art to them. Actually, that's one of those things that made Knight of Lotus feel like it almost mentally classified itself as on the cheap end for me growing up. Because I was comparing these two side by side. I'm like, this one has Neil animations. Why doesn't KOL? I love KOL, but this one's got the nice music and the Neil animations. Why didn't they do it? I'm so confused. And then I find out later that they just never did Neil animations for Tactics Ogre for some reason. Apparently it was just identified as a very FFT-esque thing, and that's why they didn't do it. At least that's what I've been told. I haven't been able to confirm that piece of info, but it definitely sounds like the kind of thing that would happen. But yeah, they've got some very amazing artwork that they did with these, and actually when they do some of the animations, they end up working pretty well too. Like whenever you see orbs exploding or just a lot of props being used, it's definitely far higher quality than I ever would have expected. But alright, let's see here. Who needs healing? I mean, we might as well drop one here for experience. Let's see. FFT storyline might have been mind-blowing when you're 12, but it's pretty basic. Yeah. I mean, okay, here's the interesting thing. So FFT's story, I'm pretty sure I've mentioned this several times before. the whole reason that it was fleshed out like it was is because it was supposed to be episode 8 of Tactics Ogre. Like, its whole setting, the whole thing with the Zodiac Stones and all that, it was supposed to be episode 8. So they already had the story together, they already had all the, like, scenarios put together and whatever, as I understand it. And then they're like, nah, but Final Fantasy, though. And so they made it a Final Fantasy thing instead. And if there's ever a question as to whether that was exactly supposed to be the case, in March of the Black Queen, they do actually talk about the Zodiac Stones. That's actually a thing that's there. Like, specifically, they're going and they're mentioning, like, oh, we know of a whole bunch of artifacts are over here. We think that they might actually be as strong as the Zodiac Stones, and then you don't really hear that mentioned too much, but they're kind of like out in the periphery. And at the time, it's one of those things of what the hell are they talking about? And it was supposed to be revealed in episode 8 as kind of like the, it was always there MacGuffin of sorts, because what was supposed to happen, as I understand it, is finally, after multiple games of failing, somebody was supposed to finally get all the Chaos Gates opened and start a new Ogre War, which, in the context of that game, is pretty much just like, there's literal gates to hell just lying around all over the place. They're sealed off and all that. People already solved the apocalyptic problem, but then, like, douchebags come by every now and then and like, oh man, I'll get super rich if I get into there. And so they keep doing that over and over, and finally they succeed. And yeah. Hello, Vin. Nice to stop by. Yeah, I'm actually... Ooh, there we go. They just came back. He succeeded. Fantastic. Okay, he's... Alright, that place was cleared, so we technically own it now, I think. I don't know if that changes our income at all or whatever else, but whatever. Any dang ways, I gotta get going and catching up with stuff here, so thank you guys for stopping by. It's been fun, and hope to continue this soon. So, see you later then, and take care.